Hello everyone. If you've been spending too much time on social media lately, you might be confused about what you should be eating. According to some expert influencers, you need to avoid seed oils, sugar, acid, and dairy, and you should become vegan. This raises the question, what exactly do people want to eat, or what should they eat? In today's video, we will set aside modern ideas and explore the eating habits and instincts passed down from our ancestors. But before we dive into the video, I have a small announcement for you, my friends. I see that you're watching my videos with great interest, but many of you haven't subscribed to my channel yet. By subscribing, you can help me continue creating content like this. I truly appreciate your interest and support. Now, let's continue with the video. The first hominids appeared around 7 million years ago. We don't know much about our ancestors from this period, but the oldest hominids, known as Sahelanthropus tchadensis, had small teeth with thick enamel, suggesting that they occasionally ate hard foods like nuts and seeds. However, their primary diet likely consisted of softer foods like fruits, leaves, insects, and sometimes meat. The diet of hominids remained largely the same for millions of years, until Lucy came along and changed everything. In 1974, several hundred fossilized bones were discovered in Ethiopia, dating back approximately 3.2 million years. These remains were named Lucy, and she became one of the most well-preserved specimens of the species Australopithecus afarensis, which existed between 3 and 4 million years ago. Research on Lucy's jaw and teeth made significant contributions to our understanding of evolution. Australopithecus likely consumed more nuts, seeds, and even tougher vegetables like tubers than Sahelanthropus. They might have also been able to process larger pieces of meat if they could clean them. Meanwhile, it wasn't until around 2 million years ago that the first Homo erectus species appeared, long before primates began eating meat. Homo erectus was a significant milestone. This species was much taller, had a larger brain, and was more skilled than its predecessors. These traits allowed for the development of more complex tools and more efficient hunting of meat. Fossil evidence from this period shows some butchery marks on the bones of small animals, indicating that our ancestors were eating meat more regularly. But the most significant change in our ancestors' diet came with their mastery of fire. This development was thought to have occurred around 400,000 years ago. However, ash residues found in caves in South Africa suggest that the discovery of fire took place about 1.5 million years ago. Cooking extended our lifespan by killing parasites and led to the shrinking of our jaws because cooked foods required less chewing. After this period, our intestines also shrank since we didn't need to use as much energy to digest food. On the other hand, lean meats, which were tough and required chewing, and fibrous root vegetables became more common in the diet. The impact of increased meat consumption was profound, so much so that the high-quality nutrients in meat played a crucial role in the evolution of our brains to become larger and more complex. Meat is more energy-dense than plants and is rich in B12, zinc, and iron, all of which are essential for brain development. But cooking allowed for greater absorption of nutrients from all types of food and led to the much faster evolution of species. This continued for thousands of years until about 10,000 years ago, when the most significant change in Homo sapiens' diet occurred with the advent of agriculture. After this development, a diet that had remained relatively constant for thousands of years began to change. We transitioned from nomadic hunting and gathering to farming and settled life. Before the advent of agriculture, human diets adapted to the environment. Populations living near bodies of water had diets richer in fish and seaweed, while those in forested areas consumed more fruit. However, after the discovery of agriculture, we became the first species in history to adapt the environment to our needs. Within a few centuries, the amount of forest foods in our diets decreased significantly. As humanity, we began to eat much less nuts, seeds, wild fruits, and game meat because we now had grains. a grain-based diet could support a much larger population compared to hunting and gathering. This was the period when the number of Homo sapiens multiplied and primitive humans spread across the world. However, agriculture was not entirely beneficial. For example, people were less healthy than before. During the early agricultural period, there was a lack of many essential nutrients, such as vitamins A and C, commonly found in vegetables and fruits, as well as B12 and omega-3 fatty acids found in meat and fish. High-carbohydrate grain-based diets provided excess energy, but were deficient in nutritional value. Still, it's true that we conquered the world during this period. But skeletal remains from this era show an increase in health problems such as tooth decay and gum disease, which were rare in hunter-gatherer communities. There was also a decrease in average height and an increase in diseases related to malnutrition. However, during this time, an interesting development occurred. Our genes changed significantly. Specifically, some human populations developed a fascinating genetic adaptation called lactase persistence, which allows them to digest lactose into adulthood. This trait was a result of the domestication of dairy animals. In conclusion, we can see that even in as little as 10,000 years, the development of agriculture has left a lasting mark on our DNA. This suggests that human genetics are quite flexible and that we may adapt to new dietary systems in the next few thousand years. It's clear that agriculture made us less healthy than ever before, but you might predict that this trend would eventually reverse. For example, in the 18th century, along with the Middle Ages, more people turned to agricultural diets. The days of eating bread and porridge for breakfast, lunch, and dinner were over, and various farm meats, fruits, vegetables, complex carbohydrates, nuts, seeds, and legumes were added to our diets. The increase in canned foods meant that we could now eat well even in winter. This change allowed us to regain and even improve our health standards. But some social factors also emerged. The problem is that only certain wealthy regions had access to such a varied and nutritious diet. As we approach the present day, we see how harmful processed foods have been to humanity and how obesity is on the rise. So now we've understood what we've been eating for the past 7 million years and how human diets have changed over that time. What do you think about this? We look forward to your comments. See you in the next video. Goodbye.